What's happening? Device not connected. At the stage. Big Paul.
What's up, man?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much, man. Got your green screen going. I gotta get my technology right, man. So we were waiting on my buddy to pop up, but it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. I know I did not start the show off right, so let me run it. Do we need to run it back with the countdown, or we just gonna ride?
Did you just go live? You just went live without doing no intro or nothing?
Man, that's dude. I am rusty.
Okay.
Thirsty. Listen, let's do the intro. Perfect. So we are live, and we're supposed to have a special guest today. Hopefully, it looks like he just popped up, and I'm gonna go ahead and add him.
What's up?
What's happening? How's
it going? Sorry I'm late.
Nah, it's all good. We all late, but we made it here.
All right, let me just get some more light in here. This is Africa. It's too black in here.
Paul, how you feeling?
I'm good, and you?
Good. Paul, what about yourself?
At work, kind of, sort of.
Oh, I haven't met Paul. What's up, Paul?
You have actually. Usually, if you're interacting with Black Comic Lords on Twitter, it's me.
Oh, cool. Oh, you know what? I don't recognize you. It's because of the hat. I'm not seeing your hat. I'm used to your hat.
Well, guys, I'm so glad that we could make it. And I know, so you're in South Africa. Can you tell us what part of South Africa you're in?
Right now, technically, you could say Johannesburg, technically, but to be more specific, Midrand.
Gotcha. So over there right now, it's 6 p.m.?
Yeah. Just to give you a heads up, gents, I also got another show that I'm going to be doing in like 2 hours. So I don't know if we can fit this discussion in 2 hours.
No, we're not gonna be here that long. So I just want to jump straight into it. Cool. I just want to jump straight into it. We are the Black Comic Lords. We educate on Black superheroes, Black comic books. So we're not just a cape and cow type of organization. So we're comprised of several different people with several different ideas, but ultimately we want you to buy the comics and read the comics. So the other day I had made a very how can I say this? Very, very bright post on the Black Panther video game in conjunction with the recast. And one of the things that happened was there was a little bit of some kickback. And so I know you as Buckmiser. So what is your real name so that I can call you that?
Okay, my real name is a little bit complicated to say. Okay, let me just get this light out the way. Jeez, it is so bright. My homies call me KB in real life, but if you're looking to try and say KB,
Gotcha.
yeah. But if you're looking to try and say my name, it's Kheto Borole.
Oh man, well, that's neat.
Yeah,
though. I like that. Yeah. It's better.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a real African name versus my name, which basically makes me a legacy character because my first name's Herschel, my last name is Lewis. So I'm definitely a bona fide legacy character. So shout out to you from actually having an authentic black name. So want to get that.
Well, I was born here. There was no chance.
Yeah. So
how did you get into comic collecting, Buckmeister?
There we go.
Well, comic collecting for me, it started because we used to get a lot of old American cartoons. Like when stuff was finishing up in America, it would start airing over here. So we got like the 90s Spider-Man cartoon in like, I want to say 2002 or something like that. So that was my first introduction to Spider-Man. Then I found out he was in comic books. Then I didn't have a local comic book store. So I used to go to like my library and I used to like Google stuff on the Wikipedia and just read the Wikipedia pages. Then I finally my library got some comic books. So I bought some Batman stuff, I bought some Green Lantern stuff, and I bought some Spider-Man stuff. So my introduction to comics came via like that cartoon and all of that stuff. I mean, we had our own local comic, which was Super Strikers. I don't know if it's still going, but it was really good. And the guys who are working on Super Strikers are also working on another comic called Kwezi. Yeah, it's all the African superhero stuff. But anyway,
yeah, I know Kwezi.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a dope looking comic. I don't personally have that one yet. But I've certainly heard of it.
And I wanted them to make more digital stuff just to make it more accessible. But I also had an interview with the guy who was a colorist on it, where it was pretty dope. But that's basically my introduction. It was via the 90s cartoon. And then, I saw some of the X-Men stuff as well. But I gravitated more to Spider-Man. And then I gravitated to Blade after the Blade movie. And then T'Challa was in the mix there. Because he just looked cool. Like the first time I saw him on the Wikipedia, I was like, who the hell is this guy? He just looks cool. And then eventually I collected his stuff digitally because like stores are very hard to come by where I'm at. It's like you have to drive very far to get like your comic book store. I don't have like a local comic book store.
Now, I know you mentioned how you got into comics generally. How did you get into Black Panther? Because you're a very prolific Black Panther poster on Twitter, which is
so as I was saying, I was Googling through the Wikipedia, reading all of the stuff, reading every character. And then basically I ran into Black Panther that way. And I was just like, wait, he's an actual African superhero, because I didn't in my mind at the time, I was like, this is all American stuff. Every hero I'm reading is going to be American. I'm cool with that. It's whatever. And then actually he's from Africa. And then actually, like, I get into the backstory of Jack Kirby, and I find out that he took like inspiration from like somewhere in the Congo with the leopard man, right? Basically, that was like the legend of like a leopard man who used to do like these warrior dances for his tribe or whatever. And I guess they took that idea and then it gestated and it formed into Black Panther. So that was like mind blowing to me, because I was like, they didn't even have to think about my continent. Like, I know how it was with America and the civil rights movement and everything, but like also for me, it was like another level, because Black Americans have not looked good in media. Africans, I think we're competing. I think in terms of bad depictions, it's been neck and neck. Because like I can't tell you how many times I've heard a Googleba, and I'm like, bro, this is what this is a movie. I thought it was Crash Bandicoot. I didn't know. Like, So yeah, that was like for me that was like mind blowing. Like he instantly became my third favorite at the time. He's my favorite now, but at the time he was my third favorite because I was reading more Spider-Man and Wolverine and X-Men stuff. Wolverine stuff specifically because I have personal issues with the X-Men, but whatever.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't at this point?
Who doesn't? But it's
So
interesting.
did the movie have a big effect on you too?
Yeah, so I had been then I finally started collecting because I found him in 2005, and then I finally started collecting like digitally, like just buying stuff online that I could afford. That was like I want to say 2007. So by the time the movie rolled around, I had already been familiarized with the character in like a lot of aspects. I had already read the Reginald Hudlin run. I had already read Priest. I read a lot of Jungle Action and everything, and I tried to collect like some of the Avengers stuff where he's featured in it because like that's why I love that omnibus that came out where he just has his collection of stories. Because one thing that was kind of annoying about being a Black Panther fan was you have to like skim through hundreds of pages just to get a panel of him. And I was just like, I hate that. I don't want to see T'Challa in just a panel. I want him to be the focus. Like that was part of the reason why it was hard for me to even get into Avengers, not Avengers Assemble. What was it? Earth's Mightiest Heroes. There we go. Because he was great in that, but it was just like it was like one episode here, or you get like a little bit over here, or you get a little bit over there, and it's just like That's why I love that BET cartoon because like even though it's short, it was like 6 episodes of T'Challa. Yes. So movie rolled around.
Being his best, yeah.
Yeah, so 2016 rolled around, and I told everybody that was everybody. When I saw him in the trailer, I lost my mind. I couldn't believe it, like, because I've been in forums arguing about because people were saying T'Challa's hard to write for, or he's got it too easy. Like this is hard to make this character interesting. So I had been arguing with people in forums for at least I want to say a year or two before 2016 Civil War happened, and it was just like it's not hard. Like the fact that they do it for Aquaman, it should not be hard for T'Challa. If they can do it for this sea fish man, they can figure it out for Black Panther and T'Challa specifically. So 2016 rolls around. I told everyone that was everyone to go see this movie for Black Panther specifically. I was just like, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're into comic books. I don't care if you're confused. I will explain everything to you in the theater. Just go see this movie. I even bought, I want to say I bought tickets for my family to go see the 2016 movie and everything. So everybody was hype off of that. We were like, I want to see what T'Challa does next. 2018 rolls around and the energy in the country was different. Like we were hosting galas and like there was even like a local event to like film it where the guy who played T'Chaka, both of the people that played T'Chaka, young T'Chaka and old T'Chaka, because they're both South African actors, they came to like a theater. Atandwakani and John Kani. Yeah, they came to a local theater and they did a whole thing where people got to line up and meet them and they got to like premiere the movie there and all of that stuff, and it was a huge event. Like I remember that day I was coming from work and I had to jump in a taxi basically to rush back home to pick up my brother and my sister so we could go to the theater, and like people didn't even ask. Concierge didn't even ask. They just gave us tickets. They were just like, you know what you're here for, just like to the point where people didn't even buy like food. They brought food from home. It was nuts. Like people were dressing up. There was face paint, Basutu blankets. It was insane. So, and that was, I think, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
It's crazy. I don't think, and I'm only 40 years old, but I remember hearing the movement that was Star Wars, and I remember hearing people saying, "Oh, everybody was coming out," but I've never seen any. I don't think any of us have ever seen this for a black superhero.
No,
now I can't speak for London, China, and other countries and what they did and what they didn't do. But as we were over here partying, we had our kind of our back turn. We said, "Oh yeah, we're over here doing our thing." What kind of, Black Panther's here. Everybody was going to the theaters. We thought we were doing something. We looked over the ocean back to where, our ancestors are from, and y'all were lit. Y'all were turned up. And it's like, wow, they're getting that same type of experience. Black Panther has really developed into this bigger, better global footprint. But it made sense. I mean, he's from freaking Africa. But in my mind, I said I would have thought they would have had their own heroes that they probably would have did this for that we're just not privy to. But answer me this. I'm glad everybody enjoyed themselves. The Wakanda Forever situation was extremely watered down. I've seen some people went out and tried to dance, whatever, but it was nothing compared to the first film and the first experience, I would say. But prior to Black Panther, would you be really honest with me? Was there anything that I don't want? Obviously, there was nothing like this ever happened before. But who was the guy before 2016 in Africa? Who was the guy?
Like, you got to understand,
the whole continent, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Who's the guy where you were at in your region?
Okay, I mean, I'm not going to talk for the whole of Africa, but like the thing is, you got to understand, access is difficult. Like here, especially in this continent in general, like nobody's going to like dispute me on that. Like to get stuff out there is so tough because now already, the historical context of the continent and all of that stuff and the pillaging of the resources and the shifting of all of that things and all of that stuff. Because like, I know there's this perception that in Africa, we have everything on lock. We really don't. I mean, my accent should be an indication of that because like for me to even learn my home language, it was difficult because my dad had a struggle of whether he should teach me it or not, because he was like, will this guy be successful if he sounds a certain way? Type of thing. And then if he sounds like this, will people take him seriously? If he sounds like that, will people take him less seriously? And then turns out they don't take me seriously anyway, so I might as well should have learned it anyway. So access is difficult, like to get things out there. Like also Kwezi only kind of got the boost that it got because of Black Panther. Like, because in America, in terms of entertainment, and this is just the honest truth, y'all have like the reach. Y'all like your government also put money into like Hollywood is old. Government put money into Hollywood. That didn't happen here because like there's corruption and all of that stuff and resource plundering and deals and things. So in terms of having a guy, we didn't. Like the closest we had was for South Africa specifically, the closest we had was Super Strikers. And when that actually became a cartoon, they didn't hire any African actors for the characters to voice. So there's not like Black T'Challa right now is the closest thing that we've had. Because like it's always been viewed as like a white people thing or a rich people thing to be a comic book collector, or it's always been viewed as an outside thing. And like there's double layers to that because now it's a white American thing. It's not even just a white thing, or it's like, or it's a Black American thing. It's not even like an African thing. We don't do that. We just watch soccer and all of that stuff. So football, for anybody who's gonna get upset, I know the real term, relax. But
the real term is football.
Yeah. But I mean, there's also American football, so I understand the term soccer. I'm not gonna get into it with the football purists. Anyway, but like, yeah. So the reason why T'Challa was really important in that context is because it kind of paved the way to say that people who look like me can do this. People who look like me can be a part of this. It's not something that's exclusive to another continent. Yes, America started it. Can't take that away from them. It's the truth. Yes, but we can also have access to it, and we can also tell stories. Because I mean, again, the other thing is with the African continent, and I think somebody said it's the South Americas. They were like, those stories are kind of unmined. That's never been seen before, and all of that stuff. Like that kind of architecture and all of that stuff has not been explored. So so that's why it's going to be such a shocking thing to see something like that. Because for us who know it, we've never seen it in a positive light outside of Shaka Zulu. So wow. I guess maybe Shaka Zulu, maybe. I guess. But yeah, so that's why like there was no superhero, because superheroes wasn't like a thing. Like, I mean, I remember I used to get picked on in high school for being into superheroes because it's like you're into this kid shit. You're like 14, 15, you're into kid stuff, you're into cartoons. What are you, nerd?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was a nerd. I mean, I used to get roasted by my cousins and all of that stuff. So like that's why right now it's kind of cool because of what T'Challa did and what Black Panther won in Civil War and that appearance, what that did. So there was never like a local guy because we could never get it out. There was never distribution. People also didn't have money. Like our economy is not like so great that it will support people just popping 500 for an action figure or, you know, $80 for a comic or whatever. They got to get bread and they got to get milk and all of that stuff. So
were you familiar with what's it called, Herschel? Mighty Man?
Mighty Man. They changed it to Power Man, I think, in Americas. But yeah, Mighty Man with the whole apartheid thing. That was on the tip of my tongue. I was like, I don't really want to get into that because I know it might hit.
First time I'm hearing of it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything.
Oh man.
Well, we'll send you some stuff on it, and then we'll talk to you later about it.
Just don't be mad at us because it's got a dark history, but it was around back in the 70s, and it was a major comic book distribution company in South Africa at the time.
Basically, a propaganda piece during apartheid to try and quell people's interest in disrupting the government at the time.
Yikes! Did not know anything about that.
Yeah, it's heavy. But the mere fact that you're there and you don't know that's and guess what? That book is extremely hard to find. I know of one person that's got a couple books, but like you can't go on eBay or any type of marketplace. You might be able to go on the black market, but you ain't gonna go on a regular marketplace and just kind of see it like, oh, okay. But America, what they did was they took it, and I think they took some stuff out of it. And I haven't read it, but Paul, I know Rich has got one. It's called Power Man, but it's kind of like almost like the same thing. But
is the main character black or is he white?
Yeah,
yes, he's black.
Yeah, main character's black. And I might be off on the Power Man depiction with the Mighty Man. And please don't kill me.
Hey! I mean, look, I'm also learning today, so I didn't know that I know that there was an African dub of Spider-Man, the '60s cartoon, which was also hella racist because it was a bunch of white people doing talking African languages and all of that stuff. So it was just like you guys couldn't even. Okay, I guess, but comic book culture, and we've always been outside. It's always been like we've looked to y'all for that influence in a sense because that was love that song.
It's my ringtone. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I love that song. But the thing is, like with this whole thing. Oh, what's up, Dre Mac? So good to see Dre Mac. So there was never a guy. Like also Comic-Con, right? Comic Republic. Yeah, that they're great, but they also just started. They're making waves and they're making traction and they're doing great things. I love Comic Republic and all of that stuff.
They are.
But like, yeah, they're newer. Like when I'm talking in terms of like the whole history, because the other thing is, it's not that nerddom has never been in South Africa specifically, because that's the only place I can talk for. It's just that we've never had like Comic-Con, for example. That never happened until 2018. Until 2018, we didn't have there was FanCon in Cape Town, which was nice, but it was relatively small. And in terms of inviting people from the African continent to congregate and do that whole nerddom thing where we get to see the cosplay, where we get to see the indie comic book publishers, where we get to see celebrities or local celebrities or even international celebrities and all that stuff that only existed in 2018. There was never that guy. We never had a Spider-Man. And it was not that it was for the lack of talent. It was just for the lack of access.
Gotcha. I want to jump straight in because I know we ain't got that much time, but we're going to definitely have to bring you back because I actually find your perspective being from South Africa fascinating in regards to Black Panther and then what you guys saw, as you were growing up. Because you're just not getting the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon that I watched the day it dropped. I was excited as a teen. You're just not getting in 2002. So, I mean, but that makes sense, different country. Now, quick question. So, the Black Panther cartoon, Black Panther video game, there's a Black Panther video game, and then there's a Black Panther character that's going to be featured, and we know it ain't going to be T'Challa, and nobody's griping about that because it's going to be set in World War II. Really wouldn't make sense unless he got some Doom's time traveling machine and he went back in time. But there is going to be rumored to be a standalone Black Panther video game. There has been some questions, some rumors is he going to even be in this video game? And then a lot of people have said no, he's not. I want to ask not just you, but anybody out there, what credible source did folks hear that from? Because I kind of believe it's just hearsay. Because I've never seen anywhere in writing from a credible source. I mean, we can argue about what's credible, CBR, we got you covered. We can go to all these outlets, but can somebody show me a receipt where they even brought in doubt that he would be in there? Because
okay, I mean the thing is though, we just like with the whole situation, it's weird with T'Challa right now, if we can be honest. Like it's a weird time with T'Challa. Like as much as because I'm buying the Eve Ewing stuff on Amazon and everything, and I like what she's doing with T'Challa and all of that stuff. But like it's a very weird energy around T'Challa, honestly. Because I mean, not even you specifically, but you've seen me on Twitter. People have come at my neck for pointing out stuff that happens in Hollywood all the time. I'm just like, I don't understand why I hate my mom and why you should curse me with cancer because I want to see T'Challa in a sequel. Like, no, and that's a real interaction. Like, I'm not even bullshit. That happened. Somebody was like, you should die of cancer. And I was like, what? Okay. Damn. So we get to the video situation and like, its cliffhanger hasn't been definitive, and I think that's like the issue here. And because I mean, it's not even a spoiler. That would not be a spoiler. Like when Spider-Man PS4 dropped, knowing that you were going to be Peter Parker wasn't a spoiler. It didn't tell you how they were going to flip the genre, what they were going to do with the Doctor Octopus. It didn't tell you what they were going to do with Negative Man. Hell, at some point, we thought Negative Man was the main bad guy of that video game. So like the thing is, right? There's no credible source. I will say that. In my knowledge, I haven't seen Cliffhanger come out and say it's not T'Challa. But I haven't seen them say it is. And with this weird energy surrounding T'Challa, with this weird energy surrounding how the Black Panther IP is being handled, especially when we look at the other games that got announced, like the Iron Man game, they told you straight up, this is Tony Stark. Like we look at the Azuri game, right? They said Azuri's name. They said Roger's name. So why can't they say T'Challa's name?
They said Azuri. Well, I mean, I can't even. They said Azuri. I can't ask. They said Azuri, but Azuri makes sense. I mean, I'm not even. I mean, well, even
they said Azuri's name. They said Azuri's name. So the thing is, right now, right, when it came to the recast, originally, everybody was praying that those leaks were wrong. When those leaks came out and we were hearing like Ramonda gonna die and T'Challa gonna die to a disease and all of that stuff, everybody was praying and hoping that that was wrong. We were just like, look, please don't kill the character. Like we didn't go hard and from jump because we didn't know what they were gonna do. Until Kevin Feige came out with that video, nobody knew what was gonna happen with the character of T'Challa. Nobody. So Feige's video drops, right? And now we're all in disarray because we're just like, if you don't recast, he's dead. Like that's just the logical conclusion that's going to happen. And it's just like, you don't have to do this. In Rocky IV, when we were asking them to throw in the towel, they just didn't. So like, it was like, come on, don't do that. Just, okay, look, there's the deadliest of the species, Black Panther Volume 5, where Shuri was the Black Panther, right? T'Challa's in a coma. Do that, please. Okay, you done prequels before. Black Widow was a prequel. Please don't do the blip. Do the blip.
I will say this. There is nobody that was like, oh, I hope he doesn't come back. Yay. Nobody was like, great, he's not coming back. But you know what? There was a big camp. We'll get off the video game because we know we don't know. We don't know, right? But as far as
I'll come back. I'll circle back to it after what you say.
There was a big camp that's like, well, what can you do? And there was other camp that was like, well, we gonna fight, we gonna scream, we gonna make noise. Cool. Damn, I had a point. I slipped my mind. My bad. When you said that, it threw me off. So, what did you say before that? And it'll pop back up.
Oh, basically, I was just saying it was the whole thing of please don't kill him. please don't do this. Like, you can do
you
anything.
said that you said about you said before the blip, you said so that's gonna help trigger it back.
Oh, when I was saying that they could do the blip theory or whatever, because Black Widow was a prequel, they can just
Okay, now I got it. That's how your memory works. That's how your mind works. So I was like, I was trying to figure out, okay, because the whole thing was, well, Marvel never said this, and I'm not saying that they didn't feel this way, but the community was like, oh, we want to honor his death. We want to honor his death. And you had a bunch of people mad and kicking and screaming about that. How y'all going to honor his death? You should honor his death by recasting. Then Everett Ross came up, and he passed. And I said, well, Marvel, y'all in the pickle. Because if you recast this guy, but you don't recast this guy, they go nail you. And folks did nail him, but it just I haven't heard so much of that dialogue go on and on because I guess, but by the time Everett Ross died, and I'm sorry to Everett Ross, but the guy who played Everett Ross died,
William Hurt
died. They quickly was like, yeah, Harrison Ford for to come up in here, and then people were like, what? But then people were already like, you know what, I'm over it. Like y'all, come on, man.
I think the thing is, again, I don't know how it's for Black Americans, but like with South Africans, there is like the way things have been. It's been very easy to feel defeated. Like it's been very easy to feel like nobody's hearing me. Why try anyway? So, like, I think maybe I don't know if that's what happened, but I've seen things like that happen. I've seen people just be like, no, they don't care. So why do I care? And, but like for me, my dad was a freedom fighter. Like he was there in the 1970s throwing stones at tanks. So I wasn't taught to just shut my mouth if there's something that I feel strongly about.
There's a lot of people that's of the mindset. You didn't mention about you getting a lot of pushback on social media, and it is 100% because of your recast thoughts that you put out about T'Challa. And there is a lot of people that's like, get over it, let's move on, and a lot, and it's not. I will say this. There's not to say there's something wrong with you for continuing on that crusade. It's nothing wrong with somebody not necessarily joining in with you, but that makes
I get that.
But it does make the conglomerate that is trying to do it feel like y'all not real fans. I've heard that. That's been said. It does make y'all feel like, come on, man, y'all supposed to.
Well, I mean, look, I ain't gonna try and represent the whole hashtag. We're not a monolith. Yeah. Everybody's got their own.
There's a lot of different sects within the hashtag.
Yeah. That's true.
Because even E-Man had made it's not always on everybody. I don't want to say he's not on everybody's side, but he has a different viewpoint. He wants to see Black Panther. I believe he said he wanted to just make sure that Black Panther is immediate. And then he said, I don't want to put words about it. It was somebody with a big platform.
From what I understand with E-Man, what he was trying to do was he was trying to also just because he was in a difficult position. I mean, again, the only reason that I'm where I'm at with the hashtag is because of what E-Man did. So I will never ever disparage E-Man for anything that he's done. How other people feel, that's their business. But like for me, E-Man did what he was supposed to do, but it was also tough. I can also understand why it's hard for him to keep this thing going, especially with where he is in the space. I get that. I'm not there in that space, so I can make as much noise as I want. So like with the whole thing of you not being a fan and whatever, it's just that for a long time, T'Challa fans have always had this ceiling. It's always been difficult. Like just for the simple fact that if we look at the space between Priest's run, like if we look at the space between Priest's run and Reginald Hudlin's run, that was a gap. That was some time. It was just like I didn't see that happen to like Iron Man and all of that stuff. And if we look at the amount of volumes T'Challa has, it's like 7 or maybe 8. Maybe I don't know.
He's up to 9 now. We're presently on volume
9. Great. But like if we look at Spider-Man, he's like what, volume 22? Volume.
He's got several different titles. We can't even put.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like if we just look at Amazing Spider-Man, right? Just Amazing Spider-Man alone, that's over 1,000 issues of comics at this point. Amazing Spider-Man.
If you count the variants, but it's the same. But the variants are just different covers.
Okay, I know. I read up until like 700. I know I read up until 700 of Amazing Spider-Man.
I think he's in the 800s right now.
Well, are we talking about Spider-Man? I think we're talking about T'Challa. Yeah, T'Challa ain't
yeah. No. I'm talking about Spider-Man specifically.
Yeah,
and like, if we look at Captain America, right? If you look at Captain America, who was a B-list character, maybe even C-list before the Avengers. I don't know. I just know a lot of people used to make fun of Captain America. The wingtips, I know a lot of people used to laugh at them wingtips, and they were like, "Why did he have tips on his head?"
I would say in the States, Captain America has always been an A-list person. We got to keep in mind, before the movies don't depict whether you're A-list. There's some people that showed up in the movies, like Rocket Raccoon, the Star-Lord and his crew. They've never been A-list, right? It's all about merchandise. We got to think about the whole totality of everything. It's about your merchandise. It's about your books. And it's a little bit about household names, because household names also depends on who you're asking. If you're asking somebody that's living under a rock that he's turned into a house, you probably ain't gonna know. So you across the board, not just black folks, not just white folks, Asians, you name it. So it goes across the board. And so when I did my study years ago, because with Black Panther, a lot of people started with everybody. When I first got it really into Black Panther, people said start with Priest. And I said, okay. I said, who's Black Panther before that? It's a whole different Black Panther before Priest. That was actually more interesting to me, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But guess what? At the end of the day, we are after 2016 when he first debuted in MCU, which I feel like took a little longer than it should have.
He should have been in Avengers: Age of Ultron, if we're being honest.
Because they did stop by Africa, so why the hell not?
And they were messing with vibranium, and the guy that he was, and the guy who's his villain, who loses his arm to T'Challa, lost his arm to a robot.
It was money, and I think they were scared. I think I said this in the video that I responded back to you on TikTok. We got to remind ourselves that the guys that are making these decisions do not look like us. They're not grow up reading these books, bro. They did not grow up.
I get that.
I get that. So the Falcon thing, easily insert him. We know he's partner of Captain America. War Machine, he's just going to make Iron Man 2 just that much better. We can throw him in. We don't own the rights to the X-Men, so we can't really fool with Storm right now. You know what? Captain Marvel's doing pretty good. We can go ahead and add in Spectrum. But what about Black Panther? I never forget Priest. Christopher Priest. And this is why times have really changed. I think we're caught up in what's going on now. I'm not talking about you. I think just in general, because I'm a fan of Black Panther. I've said this to Paul too. And I can't believe actually Priest said this, but I get it. When they first asked Priest back in 98 to write the book, first thing Priest said was, Black Panther? Okay. And then when he did it, it was successful. But
that's because he made the character his own, and he
made the character his own.
He made him cool.
He did that, but he also respected what came before him. Like, there's a lot of references to jungle action throughout Priest's run that tell me that he knew what he was doing when he was writing that character. Because I think what Priest is that he's just a brilliant writer. Like, I think he's a guy, he does something that the comic book industry just keeps forgetting to do, which is read what came before. Like, if you look at when he wrote Justice League, if you look at any other books that he wrote, if you look at even when he was doing the Deathstroke and the Batman stuff, he knows these characters. He knows what other writers have done to these characters. That's why it's easy for him to take another spin on them versus Voldemort, who was just doing whatever the hell he wanted in that 15-issue run. And he was just deciding that, okay, vibranium just doesn't work anymore. The bullets can just hurt T'Challa and it's fine. And he can get hit by buffaloes. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care. So that's what I'm saying is that, like, Marvel in general, we can all agree is terrible at promotion. Nobody knows when stuff is coming out.
No. I agree. I disagree. Marvel's great at promotions. Marvel is select. Yes, they are. They as Herschel pointed out, they made a talking raccoon into an international superstar. It's not.
I'm talking about the comic book specifically. Just the comic books.
Hold on. When it comes to promotions, Marvel can promote any character they choose to promote. When Marvel wants to make a character prominent, I'll give you a perfect example. Carol Danvers. Nobody was checking for Carol Danvers several years ago. Marvel made a conscious effort to make Carol Danvers the quote unquote most powerful superhero in the Marvel universe, so to speak.
The movie universe, right?
They what was it 10, 15 years ago, switched her from being Ms. Marvel to Captain Marvel, passing that mantle to her. They powered her up, right? They gave her additional powers. They started to pepper her in the Avengers and all these other storylines, Civil War, etc. Whenever they wish to make a character, make a conscious effort to make a character prominent, they put the character as cameos and guest appearances in all these various books. They start doing variant covers of the character to help promote the character, to make the character prominent. They can choose to make a character prominent. They choose, but the problem is they're selective. Their selections as to who they choose. That's the problem.
But what I'm saying is, like, for in this social media age, specifically to me, I'm just like, I follow them on Instagram, right? And I remember I was following them a couple while back and all of that stuff, and I didn't see like anything in terms of promotion of a comic book on Instagram or on Twitter or anything. So I was confused.
Well, I want to speak to that. You know why? Well, Paul talked about, he said 15 years ago, right? A lot of those guys that was doing all that stuff still had the Marvel way in their brain. The guys that's at these studios and these companies now, they think about that. They're not thinking about certain specific. They are thinking about the agenda, the script that they need to follow. I'm gonna say that again. A lot of guys that was working back then that was pro, and guess what? You didn't have MCU 15 years ago. You had these guys. All they had was these books, and a lot of these characters didn't even belong to them. Remember, Marvel sold off a lot of these characters. We were at a different time when Tony Stark came in and really opened up. And other people were like, well, what about Blade? We know with the whole Blade scenario, but when Tony came in with Iron Man and kicked the MCU off, it was like, yo, they started to turn, but now they say, you know what? Let's get a little bit more diversity, and then it got real big after that. So we're in a different time. We're in a different dispensation, as they say. But I want to ask you. I want to ask you this: Black Panther is the hottest black superhero out. Now, Spawn got it for everybody, even Superman and Batman. He's the best-selling black superhero ever. But he's his best-selling comic book character probably in the last 10 years. He got the number one spots every month probably for the last 10 years. Unfortunately, you're not going to see Spawn in black spaces like you're going to see T'Challa. Not even like Storm. Maybe not even in freaking Valkyrie or Blade, because Spawn scares the hell out of black folks. Well, in the States. So we mess with him.
No, he scares people here.
But it's like, but we do want to see him in the movies. But we do know Todd McFarlane, he wants it to be specific.
Well, I mean, also the thing is, when you look at Todd's writing, right? Like, for me, I tried to get into Spawn, and I read up until he defeated Satan and Jesus, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to.
That's exactly where I stopped reading, and I think the turnoff for Spawn for many black folk is the religious undertones to it. When you start talking about having a superhero go work for the devil and would basically throw the middle finger at God, I mean, that gets into touchy stuff for a lot of Christians. But beyond all that, and more importantly, Spawn has never had agency. Well, there have been a few issues, but for the most part, there's not a lot of.
He feels more like a force instead of a character. He feels like he's supposed to.
There's not a lot of agency with Spawn in his African American identity. There's not a lot of storylines where there are some storylines, and there's some good ones, where his African American identity is important. We have a video on it that Rich did. But for the most part, the fact that he's black doesn't really play a part in his identity and how he handles things. And moreover, for much of his history, when he took off his mask, it's always scarred. That could be anybody. It's just like Deathlock. You can't tell if it's a black Deathlock or a white Deathlock because there's all this scar tissue. And he wears a mask all the time.
Also, like with those first issues,
you see it's a black man.
Yeah, also with like those first issues when he finds out he has white and everything, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm a white man," and it's just like, "Ugh, okay, this dialogue is a lot."
let I just real quick. I'm gonna let you finish it because I want to get to the point. Well, because I know Paul's got
sure.
a minute. Black Panther, like I said, it was hottest character. We got some other people, like I was saying, like Spot. You guys out there fighting front line. I hope, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. People have to say, how can we be more strategic? Are we okay? How I want to say this? How can we be more strategic? Because the black comic lords and just the black comic book community, they're looking at everybody. T'Challa might be king and sits in his throne, but folks are looking at all these other characters, and the resources are being used primarily, in my opinion only, really leaning in for T'Challa. And Buddy said last night, and I said, you might have a point. He said, if they can do T'Challa like this.
Well, hold on. Before you ever say anything from this point forward. To have like what we have in the last 24 hours of people
interpret.
Herschel says, "Oh, black comic lords feels like this." let me do a little PSA just before Herschel gets started on this. All right, good people who may be watching this video. Black Comic Lords is a platform. It's a channel. There are lots of different Black Comic Lords. There are lots of different people. They all have different opinions. We're not a monolith, just like black people are not a monolith. Just because one person says one thing doesn't mean the entire group agrees with it. Okay? It's a platform. Hence the disclaimer. Please continue on with your regular scheduled programming.
All you were missing was like the elevator music as you're giving the disclaimer. Anyway, sorry, man.
Please continue, Herschel. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, bro.
I want to say this, man. Like I said, I don't know any people that hate T'Challa. I don't know. I know some people that's critical, but I know mostly people that are just black comic book people. Okay, listen. I said I ain't say you. They exist. I'm not going to deny that they don't exist. Listen.
Okay. No. Finish your point.
Man. I go out and I buy the merch I support because my dollars matter. I think more than my voice. I don't think my voice can fight cancer. My money can fight cancer. My time can fight cancer. But and I'm not telling everybody. I'm not telling you or anybody else to shut up and stop talking. Continue to talk.
No, you don't, Danny.
My fear is though all the energy right now is currently being, and it's still even after Wakanda Forever is done, and now we don't even know what's going to happen in the MCU because this is an MCU really more so matter. Ain't nobody crying about Eve Ewing's run. People got some here's and there. Ain't nobody really crying about the Giant run anymore. It's over with, right? And so we're looking for this ultimate Black Panther coming up. But let me get to the bottom of this. My fear is that all the energy is being sucked into this one character. And everybody else, that's the indie boys that's been busting their ass, working hard. This not on you, bro. You doing what you want. You have that right. But as the community, I'm talking about everybody that knows what LCS stand for. Everybody that will go and download a comic. Everybody that will go and buy some merch. Marvel Legends. I'm talking about all of y'all. What can we do as a collective together to get the attention? If we want to not, so there's two things. We want to get Marvel and DC to do what we want to do. How is that going to get done? And if we want to help these indie boys, it's no way I could be an independent creator right now. Because every time I be like, here's my Kickstarter, here's my this, here's my that, I keep hearing, well, it don't look like T'Challa, so I don't really want to mess with that. I literally watch people do that. I would be so discouraged if I was an independent creator right now, because that's what I'm seeing. And these are our own people. I made a video yesterday on YouTube, and I talked to this. I said, man, we got to help these other brothers too. And my thing is, keep fighting for T'Challa. But I'm talking to everybody. Do not forget about, and I'm fighting for T'Challa right now. Hell, we have a discussion primarily about T'Challa. A lot of our videos are about T'Challa. We might be in more of an equilibrium now because we do a lot of independent stuff too. And
I do a show on Fridays that's always dedicated to shit.
Always dedicated to it. And that's like we're one group, we're one of the groups that's doing it. I can't tell you who else is doing that. And I know somebody's gonna say one man waters the plant, the next man will give the increase. Well, this person can drive the tractor, this guy can do that. But we ain't got nobody doing nothing primarily want to drive the tractor. And the tractor right now is T'Challa. So again, I'm going to say this 3 times. Nobody's telling y'all to stop. Nobody's telling y'all to stop. Nobody's telling y'all to stop. Somebody's going to say, you're telling us we can't be loud for T'Challa. No, do that. But help out. I find time in your post. We can talk about maybe T'Challa. This is a suggestion. You ain't got to do it. Find time in your post. And I think you would probably even get maybe less kickback, and not to say that you care about it. I'm going to make that clear. But if you would show our Black Panther strong, hyper-focused recasters, would make sure that they use some variety and also push for other characters, it'll be a little bit more of a balance. I think your message and your statement will be heard even louder, because now they're going to say, okay, he's not somebody that's hyper-focused on Black Panther. He's hyper-focused on Black characters. But that's my opinion. If you
I mean, cool. I hear you, Herschel. But I just want to see you, and I see you this and raise you one. Like I said, before 2018, Africa as the continent didn't have a Comic-Con. And indie creators in Africa didn't have a platform to sell anything. Like they didn't have that access. So Black Panther 1, in its success, managed to create a platform for other people to be able to sell their books. Yeah. So, and like other stuff came from that. Like, for example, Super Team 4 on Netflix, which is basically Black Panther meets Powerpuff Girls, and some 4 black girls,
right?
And they're doing their thing. My Dad the Bounty Hunter. Am I getting that right?
Yes,
my Dad the Bounty Hunter did some Black Panther Wakanda stuff too, right?
That is intergalactic Empire of Wakanda in space.
Yes,
I'm not getting enough love for those shows. And it's sad.
But what I'm saying though is that, like, when we look at the way people pitch stuff in Hollywood, right? They usually use something popular in order to make their pitches.
Facts.
Right? It's Terminator meets this. It's Mission Impossible meets this. It's The Matrix meets this, right? So if you need a popular franchise to basically pave the way, the same way T'Challa paved the way for the black characters that you're pushing for in the Marvel comics and in the DC comics, you need to have a stable base in order to build around. Like, as E-Man has said, as all we've said, T'Challa's a cornerstone. He's something you build around. If he's strong, other characters benefit from that strength. That's kind of why. No, I'll tell you why. Because, like, for example, right? Luke Cage came in the 70s, right? Somewhere there, right?
72 or 3.
72, right? T'Challa came 1964 or 66.
66.
66.
Come on, brother. I'm about to hold you to that now. You got to know the date now.
Darn, I'm hey, you know, I'm still, you know, me and dates is crazy. Anyway, 1966, T'Challa drops. He's successful in the book with the Fantastic Four, which is also credited for bringing back bringing back the comic book industry, right? In a sense, like the Fantastic Four were like very big in making sure that the comic book industry is still around for us today. Like they're a foundation.
And they're not around.
Right?
They're not even around anymore. Like right currently.
Yeah, they're coming back. Like they still trying to make that movie. Fantastic Four has bombed 3 times, and they're still going to make another one.
They don't currently have a run out right
now. Oh no. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying once the movie drops or once buzz around the movie drops, they're going to be back. They're going to be back. So what I'm saying is that T'Challa did pave the way for black characters, like he did, in a sense that people saw them being viable in mainstream media because of his success in that Fantastic Four comic. Now, we take it to the movies. Stuff like Kizazimoto by Disney would have never gotten greenlit if Black Panther 1 didn't happen. You can go look up interviews. The people who are working on those, like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Kizazimoto. I don't know if you know what Kizazimoto is. I would definitely beg you to go check it out because it's on Disney. It's like a couple of shorts. It's like 10 shorts, but they're all fantastic. and all of that stuff, especially if you were into Black Panther. But like that stuff would have never gotten greenlit if Black Panther 1 didn't happen. Like Super Team 4 on Netflix wouldn't have happened had T'Challa and Black Panther 1 not happened. So what I'm saying is that if you have a strong Black Panther franchise with T'Challa as the center and you have 3 movies that are dope, right? It can go to Shuri, it can go to other people and all of that stuff, not disputing that, but I'm saying if there is if T'Challa gets the same treatment Iron Man gets, right? Every studio is going to want a piece of that. Every studio. And on top of that, when he shows up in other projects, if you say, "Oh, T'Challa's going to show up in a Luke Cage project. T'Challa's going to show up in a Misty Knight project. T'Challa's going to show up in the same way people were hyped for a Daredevil when Daredevil was coming through to the MCU. Some people went to go see No Way Home just for Daredevil to see what Daredevil was going to do in that movie. So my argument is that there needs to be something to build around. All of these characters became who they are because of the foundation that they have. You need to have a strong foundation. Like with Superman, right? Every superhero that gets introduced or pairs up with Superman, they get some of that shine because of how strong Superman is established in the DC universe, right? I mean, for example, the Superboy, Steel, what's Eradicator, and all of that stuff. They got a lot of shine off of Superman because he's this established figure.
Let me interject something. That's the case today. Yesterday, Black Panther had to be inserted in other people's books. When you made a statement of, and a lot of people aren't gonna like this, and I get it, that T'Challa opened up the door for a lot of Black characters. That's very subjective, and here's why. There was other Black characters before him in the Marvel universe.
I don't think that's subjective at all. I think it's pretty objective. I think it's universally held.
But let me finish my point. Here's what I'm saying. I think it's subjective because when you look at the history of how Marvel has projected and have elevated some characters, and this is talking about back when the first black superhero for Marvel was inserted, it was Luke Cage and Falcon. Now, they probably did Black Panther dirty by putting him on the back seat. When we talk about marketing, action figures, and comics, it was Luke Cage, it was Falcon. I'm not saying they're better. I'm going to say that 3 times. I know somebody didn't get it. I'm not saying they're better. I'm not saying they're better. I'm not saying they're better. But they elevated. They almost left T'Challa behind because, and I even have a slide here that I always look at. I'm still to this day trying to figure out why they said what they said. But I think there's a reason for that. Just because you're the first and you start off with something for a particular company doesn't mean that you kick the doors in for everybody else that looks like you. I mean, that applies a lot of times, but that doesn't apply every time. There's other people that come in after you that's like, well, we're going to try it again because keep in mind, Luke Cage was the first person to actually have his own comic book. And on the cover, they're actually calling him the first Black superhero, which is not accurate, but that's how they let off with this character.
Remember, then you got to get into, and I hate talking about this, but there's also diaspora politics in there because he's an African character. He's not a Black American character. Right. So maybe there's people who but I'm just saying in terms of appearances and in terms of what he did in that book, because for the Fantastic Four to get beat up by anybody, insane. Dr. Doom ain't do that. Dr. Doom ain't give them hands like that at that stage.
A lot of Black characters were being introduced as an antagonist. So we understand that we didn't discover, we discovered first issue that he was a king. We did, but what they were going to do in issue 53, it was like, okay, I guess he's a good guy because you led into 52 like, damn, this dude might be a villain.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
I mean, look, again, he didn't do anything fatal to the Fantastic
Four. No. But they led in as he was some type of antagonist. Then you find out at the end, hey, yo, I'm just trying to test myself. You guys are the best of the best. I mean, that's not even subjective.
I don't think that has anything to do with intent of making him a hero. I mean,
no, I didn't say it. I didn't insert that. I didn't insert that. What I'm saying is this. I think there is a little. We're divided. Well, you guys are probably more aligned than me. Not just myself though, but I do believe that T'Challa, again, historically is the first Black superhero for Marvel Comics. But as far as paving the way for everybody else that we see, I don't know about that. Because
okay, but anyway, fine. Let's talk about the here and now. Maybe let's not talk about the
here
past
and now.
So much. Yeah, let's talk about the here and now. So I'm just saying, 2018 happened, and from that, a lot of stuff was birthed. A lot, like I'm just talking about in South Africa specifically. I'm talking about in South Africa specifically. People who never had the chance, who never got their foot in the door at Marvel. Or at not Marvel specifically. Let me not say that. Who never got their foot in the door in terms of making IP, they got a chance because they were like, "Can you give us your version of this Afrofuturism thing that the Black Panther 1 brought?" Right? Like again, Kizazi Moto, great shorts, fantastic shorts. But
if you haven't checked it out on Disney Plus, please, you should certainly check it out.
Please. I know some of those people tangentially, but like that only happened. That only got greenlit because of the success of Black Panther 1.
Absolutely.
Right? And a lot of stuff is like that. Comic-Con specifically, like it's been going crazy. I mean, let me just a second. I want to show you guys something.
Yeah, just the entire concept of Afrofuturism blew up after the Black Panther movie came out, and people got to jump on that bandwagon. But it's even slightly not accurate to not even say it's jumped on the bandwagon. I think
I got to be a speaker, and I got to host panels at Comic-Con Africa.
Both of you are talking at the same time.
Yeah, so I got to do this. I got this opportunity, and I'm saying that this would not have happened prior to 2018.
Nope.
Yeah.
This wouldn't have happened prior to 2018. Nope. So T'Challa, I'm saying, especially in today's context, we can debate the past, but in today's context, he did open a lot of doors.
Absolutely.
Like he is a cornerstone. He is a cornerstone. So that's why it's just like, it's not that I'm forgetting about other characters. It's not, because I got a full comic book. I got a full I got a full drawer or whatever, full cupboard of a bunch of indie comics. I go broke on indie comics all the time. Like people have been even told me, "Hey, bro, you need to eat. Like, stop buying these comics. Go get some food." So I'm definitely not I'm definitely not going to not advocate for other characters. It's just that right now, in my perception of things, T'Challa is just in a very sensitive space. Like this is it's very weird. It's just like with this video game, like when Miles Morales, when the Spider-Man game Miles Morales dropped, right? Mm-hmm. They said we're making a game around Miles Morales. Like that was the word, right? We get to PlayStation 4 Spider-Man, they said this is going to be around Peter Parker, right? We get to Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5, Miles Morales and Peter Parker. Like they were definitive in their statements. Like right now, there's a lot of nebulous energy around T'Challa. I mean, he's going to show up in a Lego cartoon, which is weird to me because I'm just like, I thought like it was supposed to be transcendent and that we were not going to see him in other mediums or whatever. And it's just like, if you can, like, technically that's a recast, technically, because Chadwick Boseman did voice T'Challa.
Didn't the Lego cartoon come out before he died, though?
No, but I'm saying they're putting it out, so it means that another actor was T'Challa.
I think that I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Somebody gonna slam their laptop down and turn off their phone. Cool. He's delusional. But I would say this: even the Ultimate Black Panther book that's coming out, did they say that he was T'Challa? Did Marvel say that he was T'Challa?
Yeah, I mean that's why everybody was kicking up a ruckus. They ain't say it, so we're just like, why?
The thing that they did with this, they're doing with the video game. But just because they haven't said it, and I know what you're saying, but dude, they were very clear about Spider-Man. They've been very clear about Batman. They've been very clear. Well, with the last Arkham Knights, it was like, is he going to be in there? And I get it. I absolutely get that. But let's wait.
Arkham Knight or Gotham Knights? Are you talking about Gotham Knight?
I will say this. Let's wait and see before we start lighting the torches, though.
No, but like the thing is, though, it's not about lighting the torch so much. It's not about lighting the torch so much. It's just about telling these devs, hey, if you're thinking about this, don't, please.
Well, like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hold on. If let's say, for the sake of argument, That's the intent, is that he's not going to be in the game. The game's already done. Like,
is it?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
in this scenario, I guess
the storyline's already been written. What have you? So, you know, you can protest it if it turns out that he's not in the game, by not buying it.
Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot you can do at this point. I will note though that I partially agree with Herschel, which doesn't happen a lot. No, I'm just joking. I partially agree with Herschel in that being a recast T'Challa person myself, we are, as a community, the cult of Bast, as we often say in our show. The cult of Bast is hypersensitive when it comes to T'Challa right now, but there's a reason for that. For me personally, I'm just speaking on myself, my own disclaimer. T'Challa is my guy. That's my favorite superhero of all time. And I'm just going to say this because I have to go soon too. And get back to work. T'Challa is by far my favorite superhero. Been collecting him hardcore since the Priest run in 1998, well before he blew up in MCU, what have you. Yeah, I'm very sensitive about that character because I love the character so much. I have all the comics, and I've read them. What has happened since his prominence in the films and their decision to not recast the character has, in my opinion, been the systematic marginalization of the character. You have a character who made $1.3 billion for a company by himself, not with a group of Avengers behind him, by himself. Rose awareness throughout the world of the fact that he even exists. Gave kids superheroes to dress up as at Halloween. You had kids dressing up as Black Panther and Shuri and Dora Milaje. Blew up the world with merch. Made him, for the very first time in history, an A-list Black superhero. Never happened before.
Say that again.
And made him an A-list Black superhero. And I have my criteria. People disagree with this criteria, but my criteria for an A-list superhero, you have to have the comics resume. You have to have worldwide recognition, general recognition in the casual community. You have to have media that consists of TV and movies and live action appearances.
Yep.
Right?
You got one.
And you have to have the merch.
Gotta have the merch.
Gotta have the lunch boxes and the costumes and the toys. Black Panther checks all those boxes. Do you know how few Black characters check those boxes? It's very few and far between. You got Black Panther, you got Storm, you got Amanda Waller, and you got Cyborg. I can't even put Green Lantern on the list because he hasn't been in live action yet. His scene got cut off the Snyder movie.
Yeah, he'll be a B+ though. He kind of strong.
He's a B++, but he's not there yet.
He ain't there yet.
And you have Blade, I don't want to forget Blade.
And we hoping for Static, crossing fingers for Static.
Right, but here's the thing. I know we're hypersensitive because since the decision not to recast him, he's been pushed to the side. You know, you don't see him all over comics anymore. You see that they'll still make a buck off his merch and still put out stuff with Black Panther's name and image on there. But he's not being prominently pushed the way he was. In the comics alone, you have to go no further than the volume 8 of Black Panther by He Who Will Not Be Named by me to see that marginalization occur. The only question that becomes, is that the decision of that writer or is it the decision of the editor or both? Either way, even if it's the decision of the writer, even if it's the decision of the writer, the editors approved that stuff.
They did.
And it got to the point where even mainstream audiences that are not us were like, what's going on with Black Panther? Why are they writing him like trash? Why is he taking L's every issue? Why is he talking like
Why is he losing to a buffalo? I'm so mad.
Look. I could literally spend an hour, as I often do every week on my own show, talking about how I hate what they're doing with the character right now. So we're hypersensitive, but understand.
Yeah,
I've been asking ever since y'all told me about this video game thing. I don't play video games like I do anymore. I mean, I play Halo and Gears of War. That's pretty much it. Maybe some Call of Duty. We don't know what's going to happen with the game yet. So I understand the fervor, but let's be easy and see what happens. And then, if anything, let's strategize as to what to do next.
Yeah, I mean, look,
and again, I think Herschel's point that he's been trying to make is beyond all of that. Let me ask all of you a question. If Marvel were to decide to take it to the nth degree and say, you know what, not only are we going to not recast T'Challa, we're going to ban him from all media in the future. No more comic books, no more toys, no more movies, no more cartoons. We're getting rid of T'Challa. What y'all going to do? Are you going to quit comics? Are you going to say, well, I'm not interested anymore in anything Marvel? Are you going to go support other Black comic superheroes? If your answer is, I quit all of this, were you truly a comic book fan in the first place?
Okay,
or were you truly just a fan of T'Challa? I'm a fan of T'Challa. I'm a diehard fan of T'Challa. You need to go no further than to watch anything I've ever done to know how much of a diehard T'Challa fan is. But if he were to disappear, I would still be a fan of comics in general, and I would still recognize that there are other Black superheroes that are out there that deserve your support and need your support. And I think that's the point that Herschel tries to make poorly, but that's the point he's trying to make. I got to go with that. I got to go. I appreciate Herschel inviting me out here to speak to all of y'all, and I will go with this.
That's great. That's great. I love the disclaimer stuff. All right, just to answer Paul's question, I mean, I don't know. He'll watch this on the replay. Me personally, what I'm doing right now is I'm actually learning how to draw. So, I'm an indie creator. I have my own stuff on Webtoons. I put out 2 things out on Webtoons. I put out like, it's free if you want to go read it, whatever. Neon Wave and Black Fist. That's some stuff that I'm making personally. Art's not where it needs to be yet. I'm getting there. But the other thing that I'm doing is I'm working on a fan comic for T'Challa. And I'm also working on a fan animation for T'Challa. And I've seen fan animations of projects and stuff kind of go crazy. So my hope in this whole situation, if Marvel ever does do that, I would want to force their hand in terms of investing the character the best way I can creatively. That would be my answer to if they want to ban T'Challa. I would never quit comic books. I can't. I'm making them, so I can't quit them anyway.
That's your out. If nothing else, that's your easy out. But let me say something, though. Pause right there. Now, some people ain't going to like that I'm showing you this, and I don't have time to put it up as a graphic on the screen, but I'll show you on my phone. You know, a lot of people don't know and won't accept that Black Panther, the name, just like Captain Marvel, Black Panther is actually in public domain. You know that? Black Panther, the mantle of Black Panther, not the Marvel Comics version, but the name was used by a white boy back in 1941. I did a whole TikTok video. So people.
Oh, right. Yeah, I seen that.
So if you want to do Black Panther, absolutely can. You can take this. Put the screen. You can take that fine young gentleman right there. Make him black. People do it all the time. There's a guy called Black Cobra that was white back in the 40s. There's a guy now that's making him black, and it's Rock Comics, and it's a damn good artwork. So turn that down, baby. Turn it down. So you can make a Black Panther. I mean, I would go and check, but that name is in public domain. And I know people say that's not T'Challa. Why did you have to bring that up? It's the name. What's in the name?
Yeah, but I mean, like for me, again, personally, my hope is that because again, like I'm working hard because I want to get Marvel level artwork. I want to get like Marvel level animation where it looks really good. Like that's my person.
I've seen your animation on your TikTok. So when you first responded to my video, like, who's this guy? And I rolled through and I said, but every post is literally, well, for what I saw, a bunch of those posts. Turn down, babe. I'm on the show. Turn the volume down. She's looking at me like, uh-huh. She's 5, she's home 6, though. I'm not gonna be able to stay on that long. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I do for you. You definitely, you know how black people like, man, we gotta do this again, man, and then you don't ever hear from them. Listen, well, that's American thing. I don't know if it's what y'all do.
Oh no, we do that as well. I'll see you in China, and then
we gotta. If it's not me, Panther Paul definitely gonna have you back on a Friday. Well, if it's 9 o'clock our time, you probably ain't gonna be up like in the AM to do no show. I mean,
I've done that before. If you guys give me a heads up, I'll make a plan. That's not an issue.
We'll on our email that I sent you, send us your information. Well, we got your email, but send us maybe we got you on Twitter too, so we'll get in contact with each other and we kind of go from there. If you ever want to get something off your chest, you want to talk, especially Black Panther talk, let's do it, man.
I love the show. I would love to be on the show, but yeah, I just want to leave with this. For me personally, my whole thing is because again, for me, it's a win-win situation anyway. If the Black Panther fan stuff doesn't work, I become a phenomenal artist, so I guess plus. And if it does work, then T'Challa gets to be centered. That's my goal, I guess. And I'm not asking anybody to agree with me or to be with me on this. I don't. I respect everybody's opinions on these certain situations and everything. I don't even really go hard at people like that on Twitter. There's other people who go in at the anti-recasters next. Like me, I just make fun a little bit. I'll be like, oh, T'Challa Death Squad, y'all okay with this? Y'all okay with T'Challa being in this?
Listen, I made a whole video of how the recast T'Challa was hijacked. It was really literally simply, hey Marvel, please don't kill him off. But then it got hijacked with, well, I can't believe they're doing this because all the rest of the black superheroes suck. Then it's almost like it turned to like a crab in a box type situation-ish because it's like, okay, now y'all won't let us get T'Challa and all the other black superheroes, everybody just start giving them the middle finger like, y'all suck too, out of anger. And it was just like, y'all never said nothing about Falcon. And now he's trash. You don't even know that dude is under War Machine's mask. And he's a sidekick. He's butt. And that's where I think the comic book community come in and the indie guys come in and be like, wait a minute. We watched there's no black person on this planet. I can't speak for the white guy. There's no black person, comic person on this planet that wasn't excited about Black Panther. Wasn't excited about T'Challa. Now our thoughts differ on the recast, but we can get past that. Some people couldn't. But I say all that to say this, man. What we do with the comic lords is a little different than what the really hyper-focused recasters do. We're going to encompass the recast, but we're going to also encompass Ace Blade Comics, Kiwi. We're going to encompass all of them, and we're going to drive the whole big tractor down the road. And sometimes it's a clashing with the recast because the recast is like, no, y'all need to focus your energy on T'Challa.
No, I mean, hey,
you're not saying that, but that's been said. I'm not mad at those folks for saying that. You know, I've watched people listen. The day Chadwick Boseman cried, there were so many videos going out with in tears. It's an emotional thing. It's supposed to be a heartfelt thing, and I'm not even going to try to water that down. He's a man. Listen, I cried I cried the day I found out the news. I cried because Chadwick Boseman died. I ain't boohoo on the floor, but dude, I had to wipe. I had some.
I had to wipe too.
Because I knew how much he meant to the community, and I had never seen black people as this prideful about black things. It's usually anime and Superman and Batman, and now we actually got somebody that we're proud of. And my attitude, I was in La La Land. I thought we was going to, okay, now that he's here, and like you said, we need that strong foundation. You made mention to that. Like, that's why Black Panther is what Superman is to everybody else in the black community. You didn't say that, but I totally agree. He is that staple. And now we're like, okay, cool. Let's attach some other characters to him. So like as he goes up, he can pull other people up. That's not happening. The cord, it's not T'Challa, but I think the fans have kind of severed that cord and said, it ain't about y'all, it's about T'Challa. And I get, if we can't get T'Challa back where he needs to be, we got to get him first before we can get everybody else. And I'm gonna let folks do that, but at the same time, I think we're gonna somebody's
Well,
got.
here's what I'll also say to that. Like, we've also watching the DC situation because we crossing fingers for Black Lightning to come back. We crossing fingers for Static to come back. I don't think like again. I think the thing is with T'Challa is just that he's such a unique character in that he kind of bridged the gap for a lot of people across oceans. Like the fact that he's an African character and the fact that he's a Black American creation, that kind of bridged a lot of gaps. Because you go on Twitter, a lot of people be like, and also don't get it twisted, Africans as well beef over the pettiest of things. We beefing over borders right now. we beefing over borders. We beefing over languages we don't even own. We beefing over food. So like, hey,
now we beefing over characters we don't even know.
So like again that whole thing, but like he bridged the gap in a sense, like in a big way. Like what's happening right now, quote unquote, can be considered revolutionary. The fact that I'm South African and the fact that you're American and the fact that we're talking on this platform about this character that brought two people from two different sides of the world together. But like again, I'm a comic book fan. I read the Milestone stuff. I love Dwayne McDuffie stuff. I wish I got to meet Dwayne McDuffie. Hell, but like again, T'Challa's kind of the focus right now, just because of the energy that's kind of surrounding him, and because of what Marvel did when they pushed him initially. It's just like if that push wasn't there before, we're talking a different story. Already, I know they don't care about him. Fine, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. But the fact that he made 1.3 billion solo dolo by himself, no Avengers, right? It's just like we can't let that go away. And with the cliffhanger stuff, I definitely get the let's wait and see energy. I'm not even saying harass or dox the develop. No,
this already happened. Already came after. But I see what
I hope that's not the case. Anybody who's rocking with me, just don't harass people. I think let's not do that. Let's just use the social media as intended. That's what I'm saying. And I definitely can say let's push for the devs to just know how important the character is and that he should be the center of his game. And should the chips fall where they fall, it'll be what it'll be. But I'm definitely saying for me in my creative capacity, I'm doing what I can for the character, working on the animations and stuff that I want to work on and all of that stuff. But that's the best move that I've got right now. That's the best move that I've got right now. But yeah, definitely I'm not interested in beef. Like I'm not interested in conflict and all of that stuff. I really am not. Yeah, but that's all I got, man. I guess.
Yeah. Did you say something? You said something about you got another show coming up.
Oh yeah. Nerdgasm podcast. Please go check them out. It's really great stuff. And also Mr. Extrodin Thinks. Those are two of my buddies. We do a show together where we talk anime, we talk comic books, we talk Star Wars sometimes, and all of that stuff as well. Yeah. It's a really, and we also have a show, a game show that we're going to be doing called Geek Heresy. So that's a lot of fun as well.
Gotcha. And these guys where are these guys from? From where?
Oh, South Africa. South Africa. Yeah, all South Africans. Yeah, they're in Pretoria.
Definitely on an email, shoot us the link to
that. Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on, man. This is a big deal. Thank you so much.
I knew 2 Black Panther fans are going to be Black Panther fans, and maybe how we get him back and how we go about doing business might be different. But at the end of the day, it's T'Challa, man. We love the character. We hear it. Listen, had T'Challa had Black Panther, I'm gonna say this. Somebody might do a stitch and say, "Well, you said this." I don't know. T'Challa is the reason why. Black Panther is the reason why we have Black Comic Lords right now. But because through that we got this uproar of what we thought was a bunch of new Black comic book people, and we found out that a lot of people were just really here. I focus on one thing, and that's okay. And we've been able to work with the folks that kind of stuck around, because there's some folks that was like, man, they lost their mind after they wasn't recast, and I get that. But that speaks to how polarizing this character is, and I've never seen anything like this for a character that's been here 60 plus years. Oh, well, not quite 60 plus years. For a character that's been here that long, we've waited to 2018 to really untap him, but everything happens for a reason. I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm glad that it happened in 2018, and they did not do it today, because today everything stinks. And even if it was good, the way things are going to MCU right now, all the pushback they're getting, it might have been hard. But I'm glad they came out in 2018. It was a different time. People were actually going to was on the state side, American side of things. So I'm glad that happened, man. But listen, I'm gonna let you get out of here. I'm gonna get back with my daughter, and appreciate you, man. Happy you all.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much.
I will see you on TikTok.
Right. Cool, man. Coolin'. Peace.
All right, peace. But there you have it, folks. We finally got him on here. Had something to talk about today. Y'all can catch us on Black Comic Lords on TikTok. Where we do all things comics. We will continue to push for comics, and we're going to drop videos on Black Panther and everybody else. But the folks that's out there pushing, man, keep fighting, keep fighting, and we're going to keep fighting as well. But yeah, great show. Glad I had an opportunity to get them all. We out.